So round 7 of the challenge. That's win and in. If we win, we are in the top 8. We are playing against the opponent who doesn't show us the companion. We open this hand on the draw. This hand is quite good. It can be punished if we are against like decks that needs us to have removal. But against most of the like non-companions, it should be okay. But it's quite fast, and also like we are drawing cards, so won't be low on gas pretty early. We saw that they play Spire of Canal and Dragon's Rage Channeler, which means most likely Blue-Red Murktide, which should be okay matchup. Because like Lava Dart is pretty good against their threats, and the only real threat that we can have problems with are Murktide regions. So we start with Soulscar Mage because like we want to play non-haste threats first. They play a land, they Unholy hit our Soulscar. So considering that they played Fiery Islet, this most likely means that they don't have more lands. They kept the card on top, they attack us for 1. We drew Ragavan, so at this point we could like for sure casting 2 creatures. We have to choose 2 out of those 4. And my logic is that I want to cast like non-haste creatures first, like have the most damage on the following turns. And also like we are not dashing Ragavan anytime soon because we have our mana pretty taxed at this point, and this Ragavan really forces them to have removal spell for it, because they have really good spells for us in their deck. They cast Consider, and considering that they put the card on top, like they lose the value of it, because like they don't use Surveil basically, they don't use Surveil from Consider. They draw a card, they find Ragavan, just play it as a 2/1 creature, not dashing it. They Unholy hit our Soulscar and don't attack, because like they don't want to be hit with Ragavan. We found Mishra's Bubble, and at this point we could take 2 lines. We could cast double Monastery Swift Spear, Mishra's Bubble, and attack with all, and most likely it will trade Ragavan with Dragon's Rage Channeler. They will take 4, but the downside is that they're still at 14. It's quite high life total, and they can attack us with this Ragavan, and we don't have a 3rd land. So I decided to do like the second line, play 1 Monastery Swift Spear, play Mishra's Bubble, and like this means this Swift Spear most likely connects, because they don't have good blocks, and those creatures at this point of the game are not the greatest champ blockers. Like they don't want to champ with it. We can safely attack with Ragavan to force like the trade, because we have more creatures. We cast Light Up to find a 3rd land, which we do. That's okay. We can play play this Monastery Swift Spear in the second main phase to force them to have like even more removal spells, which I thought at that point they don't have it, but we didn't know what they really have, because they don't have lands. Maybe they have removal spells, but they still chose to cast this Ragavan. They have land on top. We draw on the land, which is unfortunate. They attacked with Ragavan, and this is like the easiest trade in my life. Maybe not the easiest, but pretty easy. But what they have, like they have, at that point we knew they have Murktide Regent, which is pretty big. It's a 6/6, so without a path to exile, we are pretty screwed at this point. But of course, we are a good player, so we top decked it right away. We cast Path to Exile first, not the Reckless Impulse looking for another path, because of the Spell Pierce. We want to play around it as much as possible, because we know that like last Murktide lists play 2, some even play 3. I cast Reckless Impulse because I thought that playing Impulse and pushing our advantage even further is better than putting Lurus into hand. We found Inspiring Vantage and Monastery Swift Spear, so we can play another Swift Spear and attack them for 4. They don't have anything, so that's pretty good. What they have? They are tapping for something, and that's Blood Moon. So we are pretty happy that we didn't put Lurus into our hand, because we couldn't even cast it anyway. But at this point, like we have similar life total, we are we have same amount of cards in hand. We have just better board. They have this Blood Moon, which is of course okay, because if they will find another Murktide Regent, we can't puff it. So we play a land, attack them for 2. And just put the lures to hand, because like we don't have anything to do with our mana anyway, and they don't know that we don't have Manamorphose, for example, that could make us cast lures. They pass the turn. We found another light up, and we can cast it right away, because if they have Spell Pierce, we can pay for that. And if they have counter spell, like that's okay. We let them have it. They have Force of Negation, which is quite bad in this matchup, but they make quite good use of it. They have also Bolt, so they have to keep this Force of Negation for some time. At that point, they don't have card in hand, so that's cool. They drew Mishra's Bubble. They will know what we have. We don't have a lot of choice. They know about this land, so we might as well play it to make their spell pierces worse. Like, not that they are great at that point of the game. They drew something good, because like this is the Murktide Regent, which is a 5/5. So big enough to overpower anything that we can play. Let's see what we draw. We draw Lava Dart, which means that we could possibly trade, because Swift Spear can be 3/4 with double cast of Lava Dart plus 2 damage. But I decided against it. I thought that I can safely pass, because if we are looking at each other, not that we are favored, but it makes us gives us more chances, like to find more spells and maybe overpower this Murktide Regent. And if they want to attack, like we are threatening lethal at this point. They found the iteration, like worst possible, I think, for us. They found Ragavan, which is okay. They attacked for 5. This was pretty aggressive line, I think. But yeah, that's what they had to do. They are killing us pretty quickly. I decided to Lava Dart the Ragavan. That is pretty easy. Attack them for 2. They have Petty Theft just to save 2 damage, which is reasonable. And I recast this Monastery Swift Spear if they have like under Ragavan to have something to block it, because we can like not dart the Ragavan right away, because we can dart their face and block the Ragavan, which is like 1 more damage, which happens. Right now, they don't attack with Murktide Regent, so they are afraid of their life total. I'm doing exactly that, because I'm not playing against them having a removal spell, because if they would have bolt, they would just bolt me and attack for 5. If they have Unholy Hit, that's unfortunate, but we have to live with it. And we deal 1 damage to them. And untap. Found another Lava Dart, so that's still this situation. At that point, I think I maybe should have like traded with those creatures, but they have Brazen Borrower, which is a 2-turn clock. And he tapped the mana. After that, he untapped. So basically, he was representing counterspell, because we might have 2 lightning bolts, and they wanted to play around it. They have a land, so that's good for us. We didn't do anything, of course. We have a lightning bolt, which is pretty strong, because we can like kill Murktide Regent with just burn spells we have, but we don't really want to attack. We want to they are representing this counter spell, so we have to play around it as good as possible. If they would attack, I would go for this line. They cast Mishra's Bubble. They pass the turn, so we still know that they don't have bolt. As you can see, it's turn 12. We're still fighting. They draw. We have 3 spells right now, so I decided that I want to cast all of my spells right now, because it forces them actually to have something, and if they don't have anything, this Murktide Regent is a champ blocker, which is a dream scenario for us. I decided to Lava Dart first, so I have more mana to cast spells from Light Up the Stage if it would resolve. It didn't. They were representing this counter spell all the time, so we are not really surprised with that. I bolted them. That's okay. I cast Lava Dart, targeting them, putting them 2-1, and killing their Murktide Regent. At this point, they need something really good to win this game, but they didn't draw anything. Brazen Borrower can't really can't block Monastery Swift Spear, so with little on board, they concede, and we are 1 game away from the top 8. Game 2 against Blue-Red Murktide. We sided out all of our prismatic endings, because I thought that like this is not the most efficient way to deal with their threats. I put in I also sided out 1 Light Up the Stage, and I put in 2 Path to Exiles for the Murktide Regent, almost exclusively, and 2 Core Firewalkers, which are not the greatest card in the matchup, but outside of Murktide Regent, they have really hard time beating this card, because like all of their removal is red based. If they want to like Engineered Explosives that's 4 mana to deal with R1 creature, and this life gain sometimes can matter. We opened that hand. This was a 1 lander with only 1 threat, so we quickly mulliganed it. This 6 is much better, because like we have Dragon's Rage Channeler with Mishra's Bubble, and on the draw we have like a lot of draws to find this second land. I had actually quite like I thought for quite some time what I want to put on bottom. The choice was between like Path to Exile, which was really far off to cast, Light Up the Stage, which we couldn't really cast possibly if they have removal spell for our channeler, and Core Firewalker, which we need to draw a land for. I decided to put back this Core Firewalker, as it was like the slowest card. They started with Dragon's Rage Channeler, which we really want to Lava Dart right away, but if we wouldn't find the land, I think we would have to cast DRC plus Bubble. We fortunately find land, so we can safely cast Lava Dart, because casting like this Channeler plus Bubble would put them in the good shape if they have removal spell for our Channeler. Like having like momentum in this matchup is pretty strong, and we are just putting like resetting the board is good at this point. We have to cast Lava Dart right away, not wait like for example for Dashing Ragavan, because they can have Spell Pierce, and we still have to keep it in mind. They play a land, they do nothing, so most like they can have counter spell, but also they can have removal spells. I cast Dragon's Rage Channeler and I made a mistake, because I played a land. That's okay, they can't respond to it, but I cracked it right away, and this opens up a window for them to cast removal spell on our DRC, and they did exactly that. So we just fetch the top Sacred Foundry and cast Bubble. We lost the Surveil trigger, which is like small misstep, but we have to remember about it. I didn't crack Bubble right away because I know that they have fetch, so if we would see what they have on top, this card can change. They fetched for Island, so I still not cracking the Bubble, because I thought that they want to do something with this mana, and they cast Consider. Put Bolt to the graveyard, which is pretty interesting, because like Lightning Bolt is pretty great against all of our threats. We saw that they have Mishra's Bubble on top. That's okay. We draw another bubble, and our hand is quite awkward. But fortunately, they play like the only card that our hand is not awkward against, Big Murktide, because we have this Path to Exile ready for it. They looked at our top. They're representing Spell Pierce, of course. So we draw. We could start with Soulscar, but playing land first and Path to Exile plays around this Spell Pierce we don't know about, but it's a possibility. We play the bubble. Look what they will draw. It's Misty Rainforest, which is good for us. And we cast Soulscar Mage. They don't kill it right away, so that's good. We have a Bolt, which is a good draw. They have Iteration, so that's one of their best top decks at this point. They revealed Unholy Heat, like they exiled Unholy Heat, and something really strange happens right now, because they play this Misty Rainforest, they take blue mana, they crack Fiery Islet to give them third type, but they didn't crack their fetch, which is like, I don't know, strange play, because they could try to kill our soul scar. Even like dealing 2 damage forces us to do something, and this way they just lost this unholy hit. But we are happy with that. We take this, we attack for 1, and this soul scar for sure, like this light up will for sure have spectacle, because like if they would have removal, they would have to lose life. And something to worth remembering, if they are cracking fetch on your turn, if your opponent is cracking fetch on your turn, it's triggering spectacle, so that's good. We cast light up, play around spell pierce. We revealed land and a path, so I decided to play land from the hand because I wanted to put lures into hand to cast it next turn. Like, we want to force them to like have the answers. They bolted our creature and didn't play a creature because like they knew that we have this path to exile, so it would be lost value for us. I cast Lurus because I thought I really have to do that. I can't really wait with it because I have no other like bait spells. They counterspell it. We play a land from the light up. We looked what they will draw. It's another land. That's good for us. We drew another land, so we both are pretty flooded at this point. We are playing like top deck war at this point. This bolt is good, of course. Like, this dart in the graveyard is also good. We drew another land, so we can safely like crack Sunbay Canyon first. Another land, crack the Sunbay Canyon. We found the light up, which is good. We could cast it this turn, but this bolt is too valuable, and like this game won't end in like 2 turns. So we have time. Their good top decks, of course, are Murktide Regions and Expressive Iterations, but they didn't find it, so we are happy about it. We found Mishra's Bubble, which is good. We can use the trick, but I decided to play land first. Like, still respect this spell pierce while casting light up. Of course, if we would find 2 lands, we will lose 1. But at this point, with 5 lands on board, that's not really something big. Not something that matters. We play Swift Spear. We are happy that we kept this bubble because it's extra damage. And they unholy hit. They already had Delirium, so even with those 2 bolt, like this bolt plus Lava Dart, we won't save it. And they Spell Pierce the Mishra's Bubble, so like our playing against Spell Pierce paid off because they had it. We have 2 Lightning Bolts exiled. They don't have anything still. And we found Core Firewalker, which is pretty strong top deck because it demands like demands an answer, but not a lot of answers in their deck, so that's good. We can just like play Bolt as a Lava Spike because like it doesn't really matter. We play a land because we want to have this Bolt ready to pay for Spell Pierce if they would cast something. I don't know what. They played DRC. That's okay for us. I cracked the fetch, found another Sacred Foundry, and decided not to cast Lightning Bolt because like we have so much mana right now, so can't really use all of it. And if you would find like DRC or Monastery Swift Spear, we want to like use some value of it. They play Bolt, just for a surveil. They kept the card on top, so we know it has to be something good. Because they have nothing at this point. We attack for 2, so for the I think first time in this game they are on lower life total than us. It's kind of funny considering that we should be the aggressor here. They found consider. They kept card on top. They found charm. They drew 2 cards. They pushed a bit ahead in this game. That's okay. We still have this core Firewalker. They cracked fetch and shocked themselves, so I thought that like it has to be something good right now. That's pretty strange. They played Petty Theft, so they basically lose 2 more life to prevent 2 damage and to tap 2 of our lands. So they didn't accomplish, like I would say they didn't accomplish anything, because tapping 2 lands is really like nothing at this point. They draw something and they pass the turn. Let's see what we draw. We found a monkey, which is a pretty good top deck. We dash it because like we have so much mana, so we can do that. They cast Brazen Borrower for some reason. I don't know what. Maybe to like scare us. But we know that this Brazen Borrower can't block any of our creatures. We deal 4 to them. They are already at 5 with 3 damage from the burn spells in our like hand and graveyard. We found Serum Visions, so with this treasure we can cast it. That's pretty good. We draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. We found Impulse and Mountain. We put Mountain on bottom, Reckless Impulse on top. We felt pretty good at this point, because like outside of, I don't know, Murktide Regent press removal spells, we should win this game. But we didn't get to draw this Reckless Impulse. Our opponent conceded because like they know that they are dead on board. So we won the game, we won the match. We are in the top 8, so I was pretty happy that with the deck I don't really have a lot of reps with this version, and I didn't really know how well it is it positioned in the meta game. I did manage to top 8. I was pretty happy anyway, but I really hope that I can do something more. So let's see in the quarterfinals.